Derek Moneyberg here. You're about to download some key money-making philosophies in your head with this next lesson. And once you do, go to moneyberg.com and let's accelerate your success even faster. I know the first thought that came to mind, and I think it'll make a lot of sense, is, yeah, we should do, he says he's 31 and a baller, but he needs to be a bigger baller by the time he's 41. And was that a fair summary?
Yeah, that's it.
And he said, what were some of the changes in mindsets that had to happen? How does he have to transition from the thoughts that he's had that got him to his current success? What is the next level of thinking to get him to another order of magnitude of success? That's what I heard.
Yes.
All right. That was an example of that shit that I talked about earlier. That's what I heard. Is that right? Yeah. The number one thought for me, and this isn't like a thing I'm happy to tell you about, and he might have a different opinion about it, but the number one thought for me is I was well rewarded for micromanaging a lot of shit. And I want to do everything. I want to do it myself, do it myself, do it myself, do it myself. How many of you guys have this mental illness? Yeah. How many of you would say, no, Derek, but you don't understand. No, Derek, if when I had other people to do it, they fucked it up. So I have to do it myself. Yeah. Yeah. So that was the biggest thing for me, is I had to learn how to, you got to build teams, man. You got to have other people, and I know you do to some extent, so this is just a scaling story, Is like, what are the other things? We get back to that Pareto principle talk that was brought up earlier. It's like, this is just a scaling issue. It's like, what are the things that you need to spend your time on that nobody else can do? And then you got to find other people, and they won't do it perfect. And you got to take time to train them, and your time's very valuable. If you had more fucking time, it wouldn't be a problem, eh? No, man, so you're going to have to think, what are the things that nobody else can do that you got to do? Then you got to focus on, all right, who are going to outsource these other things that are very important, but not the best use of your time? And you got to be a villain in your hiring. You got to be. You want to talk about screening? You got to be screening like it might be your wife. You got to be screening for the right person, because the wrong person, not only will they fuck it up, but they'll waste your time, where you personally are spending time with them trying to train them, and then they'll fuck it up. So you'll sacrifice your time and sacrifice what you paid to them, and they'll fuck it up and cause more problems for you besides that. So you go hire a headhunter, be very specific and very precise of what that skill set is. Not only the skill set, but the right personality. You might have to communicate that to your headhunter within, language that's compliant with the laws where you live. They might not be able to communicate back with you, but the message will be clear. The type of person, what type of culture they might have come from, what type of work ethic you expect them to have, et cetera, et cetera. And those nuances, they get through. But I think that was my biggest issue. And it wasn't so much as like an ego thing, like I could do it perfect, and it was more like I was a butthurt. I had so many bad experiences with other people, man.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah, I had so many bad experiences with other people. I'm just like, fine, I'm just going to do everything, and then I had to learn, if you're a good manager, if you're a good leader, like an army general, does he fight the whole other army himself? Or, I met General Petraeus at one time, and he talked about, Operation Desert Storm stuff, and he's like, he's commanding something like 134,000 troops. So why didn't he just go there himself and sort it all out?
Yeah, I might have a different perspective, but first, I want you to think about something. First, I want to ask you a question. Because you get to another level. That was good insight from Derek. It's like not doing it yourself. But for me, one of the main things I remember, I was doing it six figures in that range, and my background, I ended up being my most successful friend. Right, so there was no one to go through, ask advice for, right? My father had killed himself when I was younger, and right, so not only can I not ask him for advice, I'm questioning all the advice he had ever gave me, right? For real, it's weird. Your whole self-concept you have to change, right? And then I had some mentors, man. I ran into a dude named Elliot Host. Anybody knows him? Yeah, he became like a friend and a mentor of mine. It was really him and Owen. Right, they became I became really cool with them, and they were like guys who were more successful than me, and just they really shortened my learning curve. And then from there, I met more mentors. I met Elliot's business partner, a dude named Matt Gallant. And, you know, I actually had to pay him to coach me, you know, because he had a few, you know, $1 million businesses. He had done it online. He had helped Elliot build his business. They were like partners. And, man, I paid him like a ridiculous amount of money. Probably more, like, if you were my financial advisor at that time, you would say, Brandon, is you fucking crazy? Right? Don't do it. But I was like, yo, man, it's this or what? And if I lose it, and if I lost the money, it was like, yo, man, I know how to do this poverty thing. It's cool. I can figure it out. You know, I can make some more money. I know how to be poor. Right? So it's like, lose what? You know, lose what? But what I knew by spending that money, what I would gain was time. Right? So I would urge you to find some people who have done what you're trying to do and really shorten that learning curve, man. 100%. It's kind of like, you know, when you were in school, this is a good example I like to use. When you were in school, you know, you learned algebra. Did they teach algebra in London? All right, cool.
Not really.
No, but like,
Not really, no.
oh, for real? Okay, they teach mathematics, arithmetic, right? Cool. And you know, you learned it from someone who already knew it, and it's probably a lot quicker than having to invent arithmetic. Right, you know what I'm saying? Because you learned it from someone who did it, and that was real valuable for me. In fact, when I hired Matt, I shouldn't have did it like from just like a robot wouldn't have done it. But I felt like I knew that I would benefit from it. That was the answer to your question. But there's some in there that I want you to think about. You say you're doing a few mil a year, and like, what are you trying to scale to?
I'd say, I mean, nothing too crazy, you know. I'll be real with this, but it'd be nice to hit around 5 to 10.
5 to 10. All right.
Next, you know, year
Okay.
or two, you know.
What you need done, you need to like really think about that, because that's something I realized this is recent for me. You know, that's a different business. That's like totally different business. You know, and it's a different goal. Like what you have right now, maybe I'd have to talk to you more. It's more like a lifestyle business. You give a real comfortable lifestyle, and you probably got what you got, like 10, 15 employees, 20 employees?
7 or 8.
7, 8, cool, even better, perfect. You know, now that $10 million business is going to require a lot more staff. You know, it's going to require a lot more, and to me, I came to the point where, man, yo, I stopped thinking about how much I want gross and started thinking, all right, how much money do I want to put in my pocket every month, like in my pocket?
In your personal.
Yeah. Like, fuck the fucking top line, because that can mean anything.
Yeah.
Right? And that can literally mean anything. And then I started basing my decisions not around what I wanted my gross to be, but how much money I wanted to put in my pocket. And then I realized, bam, whoa, shit, I don't have to have a $20 million business or even a $10 million business to put the amount of money I really want in my pocket. Right? And the number that I set for myself is like, I don't think no human really needs more than that to like do like real dope shit on a consistent basis, right? So now like all the decisions I make are based around, will this help me put that much money in my pocket or not? Because if you're making decisions based off the top line revenue, it's deceptive, because you can make a whole bunch of money top line and not make no profit. And I've done that many years. It's like the first year I made $1 million, I looked at my own bank account, I was like, yo, what the fuck? You know, where the money, how come I ain't got none of this shit, you know? And I'm over here, and I was struggling. I was paying my employees, paying payroll, and not paying myself. And I was like, yo, oh shit, you know, we done made $1 million, and I'm fucking over here kind of broke myself. And all my employees basically making more than me. Right, you know, and that happens. Like, a lot of entrepreneurs will go through that at certain stages, especially initially. But I urge you to think about how much money do you want to put in your pocket. So now I'm cool with keeping my staff low, and even keeping top line low, like lower even, as long as. But if I can do it in a way where it pays my staff more, because I want to pay them more so I can keep them, because like, you know, retention equals speed, right? If I got to get new people all the time, it's gonna slow us down a little bit, training these motherfuckers and shit, right? And them adjusting to me, because I'm kind of a weirdo, kind of a psycho, right? And I got to find somebody who's down with that. And it's gonna that's proven to be difficult at times, right? And so I want to pay them a lot and pay myself a lot, and that's how I make all my decisions. But it starts with how much do I want to pay myself, and then how I need to pay them a lot. How much do I need to pay them to maintain that, so they don't start looking other ways? instead of top line. I don't really give a fuck what the top line number is based off that now. Does that make sense? So I would urge you to start thinking about that, because you can build a fucking $10 million monster that costs so much to keep just afloat every month. And then it's like, it's so much stress. It's so much going on. You got fucking buildings, you got employees, you got payroll, you got all this shit going on. And it's, to me, it sounds like a nightmare. Like if I can just make a few mil, like the top, like that top line numbers don't impress me. It's all about what I can put in my pocket every month now.
This video is brought to you by Moneyberg.com. I want you to go to Moneyberg.com right now to see where you can meet me live when I come to a city near you. I want you to be part of our audience. I want you to be part of our elite success programs. I want you to be part of the fun. Most importantly, I want you to ensure your success and your financial independence working with me while we travel around the world and help people live their dreams. Go to Moneyberg.com. Success is closer than you think. It's waiting for you there.